Good evening, Speed Gaming fans. Coming to you out of speedgaming.org and Twitch TV. This is Diesel Pilot with my partner, prieR57. Teeks, please introduce.
Hey, welcome everyone. Yes, I'm prieR57. I'm happy to be here with all of you. Tonight's match will be between narfman0 and prieR57. Narfman is a player whose talents I've first gotten to know after watching his performance in the SMB3 Randomizer Warpless Tournament that was hosted by SpeedGaming in 2018. And it was precisely that tournament that it finally inspired me to start running the game myself. While, of course, in vanilla speedruns of SMB3, you have that predetermined path whose strategies you just memorize, grind, and pretty much have full control over, of course, outside the hammer bro and hand RNG. Narfman has proven himself to be quite skilled in improvising for unexpected situations, as demonstrated in his race against prieR57 in this tournament so far.
Absolutely. Now, Narfman does enter the match currently at 0-2 after taking the 2 losses against prieR57 on Monday. However, as you said, he has a lot of talent to bring to the table, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing the 2 runners demonstrate their skill.
It's also worth noting that prieR57 will be making their debut in the SMB3 Randomizer Tournament scene tonight. prieR57, of course, may be a name that others may be familiar with, as they've been an active racer in the Legend of Zelda randomizer scene. So it will certainly be exciting to see how these 2 players with generally different backgrounds go head-to-head against one another. I'm fully looking forward to seeing what surprises they each have in store for us tonight.
Indeed. In addition to being played on the same overall hardware platform, Legend of Zelda, especially the original Legend of Zelda, and even some elements of Link to the Past, have some elements that are applicable to the Super Mario Bros. 3. You have the item maintenance that you have to do, and going into the later worlds, you have a lot of pipe mazes that you have to go through that are reminiscent of playing with the staircase mazes that some of the later worlds in Legend of Zelda can provide.
Without a doubt. So looks like both of our races are pretty much ready to tee off. So yeah, just a little background as our players are going through. They're going to be starting off with a flex set where the world order will remain the same as in vanilla SMB3. So most levels will remain within their respective worlds, but shuffled relative to where their locations are on the map. So with levels like 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, they're all likely going to be in World 1, but their panels are all going to be in different spots. So you may see some uncommon exceptions like 7-9 showing up in World 6, stuff like that. But that's mainly meant to accommodate the fact that the number of forts you'll find in each world is randomized as well. So levels will get swapped around and just to fill in those gaps.
Absolutely. And all the levels do play with their same mechanics. So as we just saw, both players entering the World 1 fort, they both decided to go for the item. Now, if you noticed, when they entered the World 1 map, the locked door that normally would obstruct your path through World 1 was actually in the roughly the original place. And since they went for the item, it could have actually cost them both the opportunity to bypass that locked door. However, the item was a hammer, which in the randomizer, hammers will break those locked doors. So neither player was actually penalized by that decision.
Indeed. So it looks like both of our runners are making their way through 1-5. Looks like they're just a couple seconds apart from one another. They're doing a really good job keeping up with one another. So they'll be going out with the regular Mushroom Mario power-up.
So we've got a tight race, pretty much just the difference at this point being the Hammer Brother fight. A little bit of the random number generator with the amount of time that prieR took to be able to enter the stage, and then just a little bit difference in fighting them.
It's especially inconvenient when the Hammer Bros take the lower route path, because you might either have to wait for them to go to the upper path so they could just bust them with the broken blocks, or just taking a more aggressive approach by having a carefully timed jump and then just hoping you don't just get caught when they jump at the same time. So it looks like Narfman tried to go for a fire kill on Larry, but he seems to be jumping around a little too much to really make use of that strategy. But
And it looked like, okay, I was going to say, it looked like we had a 4-hit Larry, and Larry was one of our 2 beefy Koopas with the earthquake.
right, so both of our races will be making their way over to World 2 next. So we'll see what levels they'll be playing first and what the layout of the map is going to be. Hopefully, they find some nice shortcuts with the one pair of pipes that they're going to be encountering.
And it looks like we had a leaf as our item from the princess as well. They're going to have to play a fort. There will be at least one other... Oh, there is one other fort I can see on prieR's map. So they'll have 2 forts, and it looks like we steal one of the forts from World 6, the ice block.
This is 6F2, so fortunately it doesn't look like any of them were able to grab a leaf from any of the question mark blocks, so they didn't have the opportunity to just fly through the underside, which would be the most optimal way through. But it looks like they're both making the best of the situation. narfman has 3 stomps down, and he's the first one to get past Boom Boom. prieR not too far behind.
So it's still a very close race as we go in. That fort will break the nearest locked door, which will open access to the pipe. I think, judging by the looks of it, that was going to have to be the case in order for the maze to act.
I mean, that was the first fort they encountered, and it had no other choice but to really break that first lock so they can advance forward. So, pretty pedestrian, angry sun level. The sun is in his usual spot, just being a jerk as always. Looks like prieR's having a little bit of issues with the P-speed strats, but he's making it through there no problem despite the complications with the quicksand. Meanwhile, narfman is taking the first pass at the end spade cards. So interesting thing to note is that even though you're matching sets of cards, you don't necessarily get the item that's depicted on them. So even if you get a pair of flowers, you don't necessarily get a flower in your inventory. It's just going to be a random item each time.
Now, as we enter the Hammer Brothers cabin here for the Boomerang Brothers fight, we do have both of our runners very tight. Once again, now prieR will have the option to enter the end card game, and he does choose to go there. narfman did not make any matches in the end card game, and prieR doesn't either. Both of them get a little bit of intel, and I think both of them did turn over a flower, just not in the same turn. So they've got a little bit of knowledge about what they're going to be going into, but still, with this at this point in the race, they're still both very close. Looks like definitely going into World 3. This is going to be anybody's race.
Thankfully, after they both made their way through the pipe warps, it just pretty much took them to the end of the map, so they don't have to play any more forts or unlock any more locks. So I do believe that they each got a hammer in their inventory now, so that'll definitely come in good use for World 3, depending on if they get a nice quick access to the airship.
Absolutely. narfman now has just one Boomerang Brother. He'll take a star in order to make quick work of the Boomerang Brothers, and he gets his hammer for it now. So he will take that and gets the power-up, the Super Leaf power-up, to turn Raccoon on his way into Morton's airship.
Yeah, and they both enter Morton's airship just a couple seconds apart, so almost in sync. It's really exciting to watch.
Absolutely. I love races like this, and Morton is our second beefy Koopa. So we got 2 beefy Koopas right so far. The Koopa's powers are shuffled, so we have 2 of them that will be able to do the earthquake, and we've seen both of them already. And then we have one more who will be able to have the super jumps, and typically that was Ludwig Koopa's, World 7 Koopa's power. We'll see where that shows up.
Indeed. So we'll be keeping our fingers crossed that the pipe warps are generous to us in World 3, so both of our players don't have to be playing musical forts in order to get to the end zone. And it looks like they picked up a hammer suit from the Peach letter.
Hammer suit's beautiful. Now, I did see the 2 forts on the other side of that lake that forms the World 3. So it could be interesting to see how that lake and the locked doors all play into it. With just a flash of view, though, I saw of it, I wasn't able to get a very good look at what we had.
It looks like they both grabbed the level card just at the exact same time, and we have a difference in power up now because narfman decided to go for that fire flower. So narfman will have a nice little advantage being able to snipe out boss bass and then just keep moving forward with P-Speed as soon as he gets to the upper platforms.
Well, prieR getting very dangerously close to boss bass in those last moves, but manages to get his way through. narfman goes ahead and hits the P-switch, does a nice little sliding jump to get out through underneath the that overhang without triggering boss bass and feeding him, and prieR decides, hey, let's go ahead and get ourselves a 5-up.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to getting the fireworks and the additional lives in any just traditional SMB3 runs, you generally want to avoid that just because it costs you an extra 4 or 5 seconds. But when it comes to Randomizer, you can never have too many lives. So considering all the things that Randomizer can throw at you, it's fairly inconsequential by comparison. Looks like narfman's opting not to use his hammer.
I was looking at that. prieR decides to go ahead and get the quick access to Wendy's airship. narfman is going to wait and take a 4th instead.
Considering how scarce hammers have been so far, I mean, they used their first one in World 1 just right off the bat, so I'm sure narfman just wants to make sure it pays off in the long run, just holding on to it so it could be used in in a more dire situation like in World 6.
Absolutely. Everything in these situations is a trade-off, and I can't go ahead and Monday morning quarterback narfman's decision on here. I would say it looks like he probably has gone ahead and made a decision about how he wants to play the game, and hey, he's playing it, so let's see how it works out. Looks like it's going to work for him.
Yeah, we heard an explosion, but we didn't see any locks break on screen, so it could very well have been the correct one because there was still a lock that was visible before going to that end spade game. So yeah, the only one that could remain was the one that's right before the airship, being the one.
You are correct, and we'll verify that, and indeed we are correct here. Although I don't think it's so much intuition as just pure old logic.
So narfman has a nice little advantage going into the Wendy fight. So he'll be on flat ground, and he has his fire flower equipped, so he doesn't have to worry about Wendy jumping around unless he stomps on her first. But it looks like she ends up being a 2-hitter anyway, so yeah, very nicely done on his end.
Right, she was a 2-hit, 2-stomp Wendy, so not too bad, and prieR had managed to take her out pretty quickly, so he's in the hot foot port. Ooh, dancing with the hot feet. Gets burned, but he's moving right along.
When the 2 hot feet are just kind of scattered the way they are, it's not really much that's in your control if you just want to push and move forward. So he's going to take the hit there, but he gets through boom boom no problem, so we'll see. Looks like that wasn't the 4th that unlocked the airship. So he's going to have to do a
4-5. We're playing 4-5 with Boss Bass, and Boss Bass gets fed, has breakfast.
Ooh, I hate to see that happen.
Oh, I've had it happen to me way too many times. But he bounces right back, takes a Hammer Brothers fight with a star, gets a music box, and he's going right back on in without a power-up into 4-5, and we'll see how this goes.
Looks like he tried to break that block in order to grab a power-up, but it ended up killing the shell instead.
That's pretty much a single pixel input you have there to make it happen.
Ooh, just really bad situation. Just getting cornered by Boss Bass and then just having no way to go because he got sniped by that fire piranha.
narfman showing some moves in that fortress, making the sliding duck jump over the 2 hot feet that were standing right there. and gets through and does the fire kill on Boom Boom without so much as a scratch.
Some really impressive P-Speed swag going on there, and he'll be joining prieR really shortly with making his way through 4-5 as well. He's going to be disappointed to see that he's going to have to backtrack in order to get to the correct fort as well. In a moment to think, what item do I want to use?
Now the frog suit is an interesting thing. It does make your base jump higher, but it doesn't... Oh!
Ooh.
Oh, and Boss Bass has frog legs for second breakfast. narfman also attempting the hit where you put the shell 1 pixel right up against the question block to try to break it, but wasn't able to make that happen. Still gets another power up just a little bit further down the road. And he's able to exit the Boss Bass stage and well on his way to his first of a new set of cards. prieR57 taking Boom Boom out with the insta-kill using Starman. So that will open up the path to the airship now. narfman not too far behind. He's in 4-1 now. And this should be a pretty quick stage for him.
Doesn't have any hammer bros in the way. He just go straight forward. So doesn't look like he's going to wind up for P-Speed strats in the World 4 airship. He's just going to keep pushing forward. And now that he has a leaf, that'll give him a good opportunity to do some gliding and then cross over some of the big gaps. But he takes a hit from those jet flames. So you'll get that secondary power up just in case Iggy decides to be a friggy.
And Iggy takes 2 hits. Let's see, let's count them up. Take 3 hits. Oh, Iggy could be a 4-hit Iggy. narfman back on his screen gets the same Starman in the World 4 Fortress, does the insta-kill on Boom Boom, and as Small Mario, he should have now an open path to the airship. He's going to take an obligatory stop at the end card panel, and looks like, let's see, he's going to continue to play it. And the Princess letter coming out of World 4 gives us a P-Wing. And we have kind of a Fred here where we get a nice 5-1 for 5-1.
Some nice frog suit strats coming out from narfman's on his end, so he's going to grab the leaf as well, and he's going to use it to glide over the gap. Just got to watch out for that rocky wrench. Problem.
Those wrenches can sail for quite a distance if you let them. So it seems like they'll go forever before they despawn.
It can really be, especially be intimidating when you do the Air Force in its auto-scroller setting.
Absolutely. I've picked up that one that seems to sit there way at the top of the screen several times.
So we have prieR57 making his way through 5-6 without any problems at all. It doesn't even have to wait for any of the parabeetles, since he could just pretty much glide straight through with the tail.
And it looked like he even decided to skip that power-up, which is probably a good call, since that power-up can be a star. And the beetles, since they do count as an enemy, will just be obliterated by that star, making it a rather unfortunate
So prieR is opting to hold on to his tail through the remainder of the Spiral Tower. Oh, never mind. It looks like he did a damage boost there to get some P-Speed momentarily.
and
a really rough spot.
Those shoe there, deciding to make life difficult. narfman also gets the fireworks for a 5.
narfman is making his way through 5-6 as well, so we'll see how he navigates those parabeetles.
Oh, yes, please just let that star go.
Indeed.
That'll cost some time.
I think he built P-Speed there for just a brief moment, but I don't think he would have had enough leverage to really make use of it.
prieR now in 5.3, the vanilla world that has the only appearance of the Kuribo shoe, takes a hit to one of those. Suddenly drawing a blank on the name of the beast.
5.3 is definitely one of those levels where I would opt to just cloud it because it's one of the longer levels that isn't necessarily an auto-scroller, but it does have those two parts, just the upper level and the lower level with a lot of stuff that can put you in danger, like the nippers we see above. Not really that many opportunities to gain P-Speed, just because of the way the enemies are laid out.
Right, those pipes interrupting your progress everywhere. There's weird jumps that you have to make. There's volcano nippers coming out of nowhere that just spew fire at you, and then those patuis that it's almost like the World 7 Plana Fort of the overworld maps.
And God forbid you ever get any of those giant Goombas and giant jumping Koopas, because if you have too many of them in one spot, they could just generate a ton of lag as well.
Well, we got narfman going into and entering 5.3 also. He does get some P-Speed and is making the best of it, so he gets some good jumps and gets some good distance. Oh, prieR57 running into Boss Bass on 5.2. That's a really nasty place for Boss Bass to show up.
Patui was in a really nasty spot to be grabbing that star. But it looks like narfman did a really good job at the P-Speed strats in 5.3. It looks like he was very well rehearsed from doing 100% runs in vanilla. So it looks like some of those skills can definitely carry over.
Absolutely, looks like it. We now have prieR57 going back to take the coin ship, and we'll see what his power-up is. Narfman entering 5.2, going to play with Boss Bass, and hopefully, making it look good, making high heart jump. narfman attempts to go in and get a power-up out of the bonus stage in 5.2, but was rewarded with run-up mushroom instead, which he's going to immediately trade in on the bottom side of that yellow Koopa Paratroopa, or yellow Paragoomba.
See prieR making his way through the World 5 Second Fortress. Interesting thing about this fortress is that a lot of the P-Speed strats that you would normally do in the vanilla speedrun carries over 100% of the time in randomizer, because if you do execute the jumps in the P-Speed the exact same way, then the Podoboos won't be an issue for you. And whether you get a hot foot or a dry bones right before you lift off with that P-Speed, you'll always have enough room to measure your distance accordingly.
I love the commentary there on the techniques that you were sharing with us too. And as we have prieR57 entering the Roy Fort, makes a quick run of it using his P-Speed strats and gets his first hit on Roy. And we have 2 hits on Roy. Roy typically in vanilla is one of the 2 Earthquakey Koopas, and this time he's not because we've both been used. And we get at about 2140 here, prieR57 clears World 5 for the first time of the 2 runs.
It looks like prieR still maintaining that lead ever since he decided to use the hammer to get to the Wendy airship a little bit earlier than narfman. So he's still about 2 levels apart, but he's still very much within striking distance. So we'll see if he's able to make a comeback going into World 6.
And narfman once again using those techniques, the ducking, running jumps, and as you were discussing the P-Speed strats, able to get through that fort, the main floor of the fort very quickly, and into Boom Boom, does some nice, shows some nice swaggy jumps to take out Boom Boom, and he's on his way into the airship now.
We have prieR57 making his way through 6-1 with the Angry Sun just looming right over. But he gets a very nice dodge. narfman tried to go for a little bit of P-speed, but thankfully he still has the stars back up to make his way through the cannonballs and the bullet bills.
He's getting into Roy's cabin now. Takes one hit with some weird little... Looks like some collision checking went weird on that one hit, but he still has that one hit point to spare, and the small Mario gets the one, and he's on his way down to meet the king and advance to World 6.
You can have some pretty unfortunate hitbox collisions with the Koopalings and some of the other enemies in this game, because when the Koopalings jump, they reach their maximum Y velocity, just in the first few frames that they initiate the jump. So if you just happen to be on top of them at the wrong time, at the wrong place, it could get ugly pretty quickly. It looks like prieR just got gulped by that boss pass, unfortunately. So
doing World 610 with boss pass is absolutely not fair. That's just not right.
SMB3 definitely always consistently has a pretty rough beginning in Randomizer with the fire snakes and the fire chomps. Pretty frequently in those locations, and they can generate some lag that can eat your jump inputs.
It looks like he was able to... He didn't have those fire chomps this time, and I think just deciding that between the choice of taking 6-4 or 6-10 with boss pass, I think he definitely made the right choice between the two options. Now he's going to take a mushroom to go and take the Hammer Brothers, gets a Boomerang Brother in the desert setup, and is rewarded with a hammer. And narfman is now taking out the Fire Brothers from earlier before, which was the reward that gave the P-speed. I'm sorry, the P-wing, not P-speed.
As we saw from prieR's side of the World 6 map, he did some pipe checks that didn't really give him many favors. But it's also worth noting that narfman still does has his hammer in his inventory, so it could be a good opportunity for a comeback here.
With our underground lake 6-7, where prieR decides to take the upper road to go over the Nippers, and wasn't able to get that Starman, but he's still able to clear the level pretty quickly. So good call there, and makes good use of his time. narfman going through 6-10 with Tanuki Suit with boss pass, and gets a nice use of the statue technique to avoid boss pass twice now. So he uses a Starman and then 2 uses of the statue to avoid boss pass. Excellent maneuvers. Wonderful use of knowing the techniques and the mechanics of the game.
It's like prieR got a little caught up by the Paragoomba Minis, so it slowed him down a little bit. So he's going to have to backtrack to the end pipe so he can get himself a tail in order to get to the upper section for the exit. So hopefully none of the airborne enemies will get in his way and make him kind of backtrack a second time. So
he's got that. He's got the Koopa tail now, and he's gonna pick it up to make his flight up, and almost that very troll.
Oh, that is so rude.
Oh, that wrong. Absolutely.
All right, so it looks like he's gonna have to hold on to that Koopa shell after all.
I think there's no way around it with those, with that beetle and that volcano nipper there. I don't see how you do it.
So we have narfman doing a nice damage boost over the bed of spikes in 6F1. So we'll see if he can get the quick kill on Boom Boom with the star. Looks like he's very much on track to do so, and he'll be definitely getting it. Very nicely done.
Now we see narfman trying to respawn that turtle so that he can... Ooh. Oh, the beetle takes it out. So he's trying to respawn that turtle so that he can use it to clear out his nippers, but with the ice block taking it out, that's going to despawn it for quite a while. He's going to have to figure out... Oh, he's going to try it again anyways.
Oh, no.
And with this development, this has actually switched up the lead. We've got a lead change now. narfman is now in the World 6.
Diesel, do you know if prieR has a cloud in his inventory? Because if so, I think now would be a really good opportunity to, just keep pushing forward.
I'm not sure if he does, but I totally agree. This would definitely be the moment to... Oh yeah, especially as we see that happen again. This would definitely be the time to... No, he hasn't... This level does have a lot of time to it when you enter it. I believe it's a 400-second level. And he is now down into the 240s. Which means that he hasn't taken a death in this world yet, but he's, as you said, he's using a lot of time.
Well, we see narfman doing some pipe checks in World 7, so we'll see if that brings him to the Far East Islands so that he could have a nice linear path to the airship. I do believe he still has his hammers in his inventory, if I'm not mistaken, so... if worst case scenario he has to break the lock, I think that it would definitely be a worthwhile use.
I can't argue with you there. Now, let's see. If prieR, he's taken... Oh. He's still taking hits there, and he's actually... He is losing a lot. He's still in 6-5. He still has not lost a life, but the amount of time I would have to I'd say it might be worth it to trade one of those 1-ups so that you could move on.
So he has the shell. He didn't get sniped by the fire nipper, and he's finally out of here.
It took him every way for it to go badly, but it finally went well. I'm going to have to go and applaud the dedication to...
Yeah, absolutely. I totally respect that. Speaking of levels that could be a thorn in your side, we're up in 7-9 on narfman's side, so looks like he's making some attempts to build P-speed so he could clip through some of those walls to give himself a nice little shortcut to the end. Doesn't look like the sub-pixels are lining up in his favor. So it looks like he's just going to wrap around and then just try to take a more traditional route.
So now I have prieR entering World 2-5, the old Chain Chop world, which didn't appear earlier, so he gets to play it now, and he's taking one hit, but he's making his way through, and he's out of it, so he will be advancing on now. And narfman is indeed still working on... he's got the exit pipe there, and snipes the boss fast for good measure. prieR just realized, though, that he has to go back and do another fort. There's still a bridge that's not built, and he's behind a brick. So he's going to use his... he's going to go ahead and use his hammer on a rock to get his way into the first fort at the beginning of the world that he had skipped from before.
It looks like he burned his hammer in order to get back to the beginning of the map, so that might punish him in World 7 since he won't have that shortcut to the airship, since it didn't look like the fort that narfman just finished was the one that unlocked it. So that's going to allow him to just keep pushing forward, since he does have a hammer.
That is what's going on there. So Narf, looks like we've the race has opened up a little bit now, a little bit more than we were looking at from before, with prieR57 having used his hammer in order to be able to build the bridge in World 6, and narfman now entering the World 7 airship.
So it looks like he's going to drop down to get a power up, and it looks he's going to have a nice advantage with that fire flower. And it'll also give him a good opportunity to just duck under that section right there. Tried to build some P speed, but unfortunately he clipped into his head into the ceiling, so that just killed his momentum right away. So thankfully it's not going to lose him that much time, but unfortunately he miscalculated one of those jumps. So pretty much a minor setback. He still has a ton of options in his inventory, so he could just give it another pass.
And with a few P-wings to spare, he decides to use one of those. And he's going to pick up this flower here, trade it in, and that probably isn't a bad decision since that will let him go ahead and possibly get the fire kill on Ludwig here in a few.
There he goes. He manages to get that P-speed going this time.
Absolutely. Making it look easy as he goes through those lifts.
Oh, we got the Michael Jordan pattern on Ludwig's side.
So Ludwig keeps his vanilla jumping ability, but he's only a 2-hitter this time. This prieR explores some pipes to try to figure out where he wants to go. He goes right on into the nipper world. I thought he might try to use the screen scroll technique to avoid using the nippers, but he enters it anyways.
I'm not sure if prieR's familiar with the screen wrapping ability on the overworld map, but nonetheless, he got through it pretty quickly.
Well, narfman's entering the Air Force before he hasn't gone in to see what on the other screens he'll be required to do as far as unlocking locks or building bridges, but he will be entering the first of the Boom Boom levels available in World. So for any viewers, in the randomizer, the World 8, which typically would just have a couple of locked doors at various points on the map, instead it has the ability now to put in up to 4 bridges that would be positioned in the Bowser screen, the last screen going into Bowser's Castle. And you can see there, only one of them is actually required in this one, and this could be it, as narfman enters the super tanks. And what it is every level that has a Boom Boom has a crystal that Boom Boom gives up at the end of it after you defeat them. That crystal can either open a locked door or build a bridge, and we're just going to see here in a moment what this crystal does.
Your fingers crossed, for narfman's sake. It does look like it's the one. So we're going to have to do some backtracking in the pipes and see if there's going to be an alternative level that can open the bridge for him.
So as you can see on that screen that you just passed through, there is the Navy that's on the hand bridge stage, and on this one there is World 8-2. That one will not build a Boom Boom, but it did have a lock. So he's found the Navy.
So it looks like prieR is making his way through Fort Knox, so he's going to have to take a bit of a detour to get the Tanuki suit in order to fly up to get to Boom Boom's room. Would have been a lot easier if he had a P-Wing at his disposal. His way through.
And he gets, after a slightly delayed takeoff, having to do a little bit of a backtrack, but he's in it, and he's out of it. And now, after narfman defeats Boom Boom in the Navy level, he's going to go back and let's see if he checks to see where he can go now. We did just find the fort. Sorry, chat, I am not going to sing in the Navy. You really don't want me to sing that song. You don't want me to sing any.
We just passed Valley of Bowser not too long ago, but nonetheless, it's still very easy to get lost in the dark room. forget which pipes I just went through, even if I just did them like 2 minutes ago.
And that's part of the reason we call World 8 the Great Equalizer. prieR going through the Piranha Fortress, making it look relatively easy, even though he did take that one hit. He's showing the techniques how to do it, and narfman is at Bowser's Castle.
He's going to charge in there full force with the hammer suit and the star. Not going to take any chances on those statue lasers. He's going to go for the swag clip. He tries it, no success. He gets the follow-up clip, so he's able to avoid all of the rotodiscs on the stairs. So that'll actually save him time in randomizer. It doesn't really do you any favors in vanilla, though.
And he's going to go for the Nintendo Power clip. Gets that into the Podoboo.
So he's going to try the clip on the upper route, so he doesn't have to worry about the randomized fireballs, some of which can shoot multiple at a time, and have to deal with any of the randomized lasers that the statues can shoot. So we can't fall off the ledge this time because get rid of that donut. Looks like that the duck inputs are just really giving him some issues, so he's just going to have to brave it out with in the donut room. So, gonna hope for some good fireball RNG, and he's almost there. Nice timing. Oh, miscalculated that jump.
That was painful to watch.
Does he have another hammer suit? Looks like he doesn't, but I do believe there was a fire flower power up just right below that upper section, so he still has an opportunity to get a quick kill on Bowser, but probably not the way he wanted to go out.
Right, but we did see that fire flower power up on the level underneath the well, when he fell off trying to do the clip the first time. Better watch out.
Watch out for that boo. Ooh, just barely missed the boo. He's not going to go for the fire.
Guess he'll be going for the traditional defeat of Bowser. And prieR has now defeated Ludwig, so we will see him shortly here entering World 8, but I don't think he's going to make it unless something very horrible happens here. narfman making a fool out of Bowser.
Oh, that was a pretty rough pattern from Bowser right there, just getting trapped between the jump and the fireball at the same time. But thankfully, just the fact that Bowser's hitbox is just half of his head, so he still has a lot of room to move around. So as long as he stays on the ground, and he just watches where those fireballs could be shooting, yeah, he'll be down in just a couple more seconds.
Hi, Bowser. Bye, Bowser.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your GGs out for narfman. Excellent performance on his part.
Absolutely, showing both some technical skill and acute knowledge of the game. He's certainly earned this win. But prieR57 absolutely has every incentive to continue this, especially since the way the randomizer works, the way the tournament works. He still has a shot at getting into the bracket stage, so he still needs to press on and continue to get a time. And chat, there will still be one more match to answer the questions. We'll be going into Flags 2 set here briefly. There are some differences between the two flag sets, which we will discuss when we get into the match later on, but it is a little bit more of a challenge, a lot more random. So stick around, absolutely. Support prieR here, and stick around for the second match, where we'll have both these runners once again playing it and showing you their skills.
prieR's doing a great job just toughing it out, especially I'm sure he must feel a little bit, at least a little bit discouraged after the way 6-5 went down. Otherwise, I'm sure that the gap would have been much closer between he and narfman. But nonetheless, he's still braving it out in World 8. So looks like he's taking an alternative path to the traditional route of just running with the P switch.
This one he will is making 2 trips past the swamp from 1, and he's gonna go ahead and enter and run through this conveyor belt, which is stopped at this point. But then go ahead and take out. And prieR is trying to remember which pipes it was that he had to play, and he enters the Navy stage now. So he'll play that through. Shouldn't take too long because it's just 3 battleship-sized ships that he's got to get through. And then he'll be in Boom Boom's cabin and out the door.
Just narrowly avoided that bomb explosion. So, if I remember correctly, the Navy is going to be the one that unlocks the path to Bowser's Castle.
It's certainly one of the. I can't remember for sure which of the 2 it was, but it definitely. I'm almost certain it has to be either this one or the Fortress. I don't think that narfman did the World 8 Fortress, so that would mean that it was the. And there you go. So with a hammer suit and a Starman, prieR is entering Bowser's Castle. prieR meets Bowser. And having lost his hammer suit, he will have to wait just about another minute or so. And here we are. prieR is at the door after Bowser takes the fall. And there we are. So prieR looks like his official SRL time. I don't have that up right here, but it looks like it's going to be in the vicinity of 46 minutes, 14 seconds. And so offer your GGs to prieR57 for a wonderful run. And we will be back momentarily. I'm going to grab Teeks to figure out where we lost him to, but we'll be back shortly here. So don't go away. Okay, for everybody that's viewing, anybody in chat, we are just working through one minor technical difficulty, and we will be on our way shortly. Don't go away. We all will be back before you even know it. Okay, everybody, welcome back to Super Mario Brothers 3 Randomizer Tournament 2020. We got our second round between narfman0 and prieR57 coming up shortly here. Looks like our runners have got their seeds ready, and we're just ready for them to go ahead and give us the go signal here, which will be coming up any minute now.
We saw a fantastic race between these two racers just in the prior seeds, so they stayed pretty close for at least the first half of the race, and then due to some differences in routing and a couple issues in some of the levels here or there, narfman was able to just jet through and take a pretty major lead. So it's definitely not over yet. So narfman, prieR57 still has an opportunity to make another comeback. So hopefully 6-5 will be a little friendly to him this time if either of them should encounter it for any reason. So just as a little background, the second randomizer flag set will have shuffled world order. So pretty much most of the things are going to be consistent compared to the previous race. So you're still going to have random enemies and random power-ups, and you'll still be able to break locks with the hammer and play the end spade card.
All right, chat, so it's your turn now to tell us what world are we going to see first. 1 through 7 are valid options. Any world between 1 and 7. We have had them go completely in vanilla order. We've had them go backwards. And the Haxor, I think that's a little bit outside the valid range. But it is World 6.
Both of them will be making their way through 4F2 right now, so thankfully they have stars, a nice power-up to start out with, because you get a nice P-speed right out of the way. But you're going to have to be a little more careful with the hot foot coming up right there. So prior is able to get a nice little lead with that P-speed, so they're both going into Boom Boom roughly the same time. So 1, 2, and 3, he's down.
And it looks like, once again, our first level, expertly managed by both runners, and we're starting out at a near tie. We do have 2 10s that are showing up on our map, which means that we will have quite a few of the regular overworld levels available.
So we already see a split difference between the two routes. So narfman's making his way through the World 6 beta. So yeah, that's another interesting difference between these two flag sets. So with the first race, you only saw levels that show up in the vanilla SMB3, albeit in different locations. But you'll also see some of the beta levels that never made it to the final version of the game in this randomizer seed, because those levels are actually still encoded in the game, but there's just no way to access them unless you use Game Genie or some other external means to unlock them.
prieR57 as Small Mario taking an unfortunate hit with the Hammer Brothers stage. It's going to Narfman gets a very trolly Hammer Brothers stage with the Fire Brothers. As entering as Small Mario was not happy at all.
No siree. So thankfully, the thing about the coin ship is you'll always get the two boomerang bros in the arena, so you could be a little bit more careful with dodging those boomerangs, and you don't really lose any time because the boomerangs still have to leave the screen before you can grab the chest. There, so Fire Bros are just gonna march right into his space. So just because of the way the game's mechanics work, he's just going to have to keep playing that fight over and over again until he lucks out. So hopefully narfman is able to get through there without getting a game over, which it looks like he did. Very nice job with the jumping. He's going to pick up a mushroom. How much luck we have with the pipe warp, see if we can make our way to a nice quick shortcut to the airship. It's not going to be a giveaway, but opportunity to move forward. Don't think he has a hammer yet, so we can really break a rock and get to the end. Meanwhile, we see both racers in level 2-5, so both of them make their way through there pretty seamlessly. Right, so we see another beta level. So since there's no boss bass in the way, prieR is able to make his way, take a shortcut to the end of the level as Small Mario. So he does have an angry sun that was looming over him, but thankfully he doesn't activate until the very last minute, so he can't really do any harm. So narfman not too far behind.
Okay, well, we are back now. Sorry about the difficulty, everybody. We were just dealing with some regular real-world problems. You know, you do a live stream, you get live stream problems, and this is one of them. But we're able to see what's going on again, and we're able to see narfman makes a decides he's going to have to go and just do the Fire Brothers the traditional way, getting the Starman, and at least that was the traditional way for me. Don't even bother trying to play around with them when they get mean like that.
Indeed, and it looks like prieR had to take a 100 coin fine just to bypass having to play through 5-9. It's definitely very time-consuming to be playing an auto-scroller like that. So he's going to make his way through 7-9 right now, so he's making a really good use of that ice block to clear a path to build some P-speed.
Indeed, if you can't, or if you're not going to be able to make the clips, well, you know, use the ice blocks, use whatever technique you have and resource at your disposal, and he's making it happen. So, and absolutely with 5-9, one of the two auto-scrollers still left in the game other than the Coin Heavens, absolutely no reason to play those unless there's just no way around it.
Yeah, unlike the boss bass and cheap cheese that could spontaneously respawn as soon as you kill them with a block or a star, the good thing about the Angry Sun is that once you knock him out, he's pretty much gone for good for the remainder of the level. So it looks like he was able to take him out right at the end of the level, so it didn't really matter too much, but he still gets through 7-9 no problem. So narfman will be the first one out of World 3. He's going to be playing the World 6 airship and in Wendy's fight. So similar to Vanilla, he's going to be fighting Wendy on a flat ground arena. So if he's able to get a Fire Flower from that power-up, which it doesn't look like he did, he would have otherwise had a pretty convenient fire kill. We'll see how many hits it takes to knock out Wendy. We've got 1, 2, and 3.
Well, Wendy does provide the earthquake with this round, so it's wasn't too difficult though. He managed to keep his cool and keep his balance, no stun locks, and he's on his way to the next stage. Anybody wants? Yes.
Aspects about a thick Wendy fight is that because she's doing that extra bounce as she's hitting the ground, there's a bit of a delay between the time she goes back to normal and starts throwing her rings, and the opportunity often gives you a good opportunity to get a stomp in on her early. Ooh, and it looks like prieR took a fall of shame in 5-2.
That fall is going to send him down into the sewers of 5-2. But he does have his frog suit that'll make the swimming at least a little bit easier, but there won't be too much swimming left to do. I think he's probably going to have to pick up a turtle shell or an ice block to make quick work, or he could just take a hit and get back out of the frog suit.
If prieR was really determined to hold on to his frog suit anyway, then probably the best alternative way to go fast through that section would just be to grab any sort of object, whether it's a shell or a block, since you do have pretty quick running physics.
Oh yeah, my little sister used to tell me to always grab the turtle shell or the block, because she liked the animation with Mario running when he was Frog Mario with.
I can't blame her. That running animation with Frog Suit is pretty amusing, not gonna lie. So speaking of Frog Suits, looks like prieR took another damage boost for the Sledge Bro fight, and he's able to pick up a nice Fire Flower for his efforts. So he'll be joining narfman. He's pretty much right at the World 6 airship as well.
Gets some nice jumps on the bolt lifts, no problems. Making his way through the jets, no.
narfman is making his way through level 4-4. So it doesn't look like he was able to get a P speed there, but he'll still be able to get a stomp kill on Lakitu if he times his jump appropriately. Just barely undershoots it.
prior attempting the fire kill on Wendy, she is able to get a hit point off of him before he could do that. And she's gotten mean, but he does get that last hit on her, makes the candy go away, grabs the wand, and he's on his way to the next roll.
Alright, so next up, narfman is going to be making his way through 3-9. So we'll see if he decides to just fly over or if he's going to go for the H jump. Looks like it's going to be neither. Looks like he's generating quite a bit of lag from those ice blocks he threw, plus the enemies that are on the screen.
Those ice blocks probably down a lot, especially when you make this transition into the water. They can still keep things going slow, but he's out of it. Just has that
clutch dodge against those mini bloopers.
It was a wonderful world to see. Makes it look. narfman ends up getting some brutal Hammer Brother, just random RNG there, taking their time trying to settle down at the end of that level.
We have narfman in 6F1 and prior doing the second hand trap level.
narfman's going to go ahead and damage boost across the row of spikes and down the chute, avoids the hot foot.
Our fingers crossed that we can get a star from one of these power up blocks, so we can get a nice quick kill on Boom Boom. It looks like he's going to. Plus, he's right at the door, so he has plenty of time to make his way over there. And he gets it no problem.
Nice instant kill there. prieR57 was not able to get the peace being either out of 4-4. Underneath Lakitu. Lakitu's being trolly here, trying to show him some pain with those spikes, but he's avoiding it so far.
Doesn't look like he was able to get the power swim or any of the platform jumps either because of the way Lakitu was looming around, but he was able to display some pretty impressive dodging skills with those spinies in the water.
And absolutely just barely avoiding that last one at the very end. And narfman has a shot here. Oh, no. Oh, yes, he is going to clear the card game.
Very well done.
Batch of items.
I got excited for a minute. I thought that prior was going to get the H jump for a moment. Another impressive dodge from prior against those bloopers in the water. So narfman will be making his way over to the airship.
Looks like he also had a couple of clouds and a couple of hammers coming out of the end card game. So he's going to be well stocked going in for whatever the later worlds may throw. And it looks like we may have lost narfman's stream for a moment.
It looks like he's kind of suspended in midair on that 1-4 airship. But looks like prior is going to get a star and a mushroom from 6F1. Hopefully he'll be able to get that follow-up, and he'll be able to follow suit with the quick kill on Boom Boom.
Gets the very quick kill on Boom Boom. And fighting the Boomerang Brothers on the double platform on an ice stage makes quick work of it, though.
Nice execution with that jump and just getting that clutch double kill on them.
It's absolutely a good play there. Okay, looks like Narfman's back. He's running through 4 Fortress. Looks like it was a 4F1 and takes a hit on a Boo that was sitting on top of a candlestick.
Yeah, it's especially tough to contend with, especially since you have that slightly wider hitbox, so you have to be really careful with how you drop down.
And prieR makes his fire kill on Iggy. So he doesn't have to worry about the hitbox, just has to worry about getting the fireballs on target. Does so, gets himself a wand, and gets his nice letter from the president. It seems like Narfman's stream may have gotten interrupted or something again. So right now we're only able to view prieR. prieR taking a hit on a thwomp that was it just moved out from being reset. So triggered thwomp gets triggered. Boos are chasing him. He's having a time with it, but he's got the Boos and the hot feet out of the way. Looks like he's going to be able to make this last. Yeah, there he goes. Gets a mushroom. Now all he has to do is avoid that one thwomp, the nice little slack jump, and he's on his way to Boom Boom.
Barely able to sandwich his way between the hot foot and the Boo, so really nice job on his part.
Oh, we've got Narfman back a little bit. For now, he's in World 4. Well, one of the World 4 levels. And World 4. For our randomizer. prieR fighting the pyramid, getting the buzzies, and gonna get ourselves through the pyramid now. Okay, so it looks like Narfman may have had something slow him down in this in the stages of World 4 since the time since he's been back. He's hasn't made much picked up much ground against prieR. As he's taking in a fight with the Boomerang Brothers cabin on the airship, he gets a hammer for his trouble.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about the pyramid and randomizer. Whenever you get a hammer bro right at the end of that exit pipe, there's like a 90% chance it's just going to do a super high jump.
prieR got some wonderful swaggy jump there, getting his way through. Takes a hit from one of the fire prompts.
One interesting thing I've noticed about those high jumping hammer bros is, I mean, this only happens to me in 2-4, but if you just happen to encounter it at a time when you're building P speed to just end the level with the card, more often than less you'll just clip right through him and just take no damage. 4th vote for me for some reason.
Could be something to look out for. Narfman goes through the World 5 airship, Roy's airship, to find Morton on the other end of it. Takes Morton out very quickly.
Really impressive job on Narfman's side. And now we have prieR making his way out of the pyramid. Very nice.
So it looks like, actually now, taking a look at things, seems we do have a little bit of a lead opening up on Narfman's side again. prieR decides to take the P-Wing to get through this World 4 level with the... I don't blame him at all. That can be very trolly, especially Boss Bass sitting there trying to make things difficult. And the flooded fortress on Narfman's side with some precision swimming required. He swims very precisely, gets through it, gets into Boom Boom's room, and he's going to execute a textbook fire kill on Boom Boom, making it look easy. Oh, but then Boss Bass in the Desert Pyramid level comes up and just snags him right out of nowhere. So he's going to take a cloud and get on right by that. Then decides to take a star into the Hammer Brothers stage. Not a bad choice at all, especially since it turns out that was a Fire Brother that was there. Those things with the way that the fireballs can just jump, that can be painful and a crapshoot. So he decides he's not going to mess with that, and ends up in the World 2 airship. Takes a frog suit to get a couple of extra hit points on the way through the World 2 airship. Not a bad choice. And he is very quickly into the cabin. This will be Larry that he's fighting. Everybody's very first Koopaling. Larry takes 3 hits, takes 4 hits, takes 4 hits to go down. So, no earthquake, but he does take a little bit of extra stomping, but he's down for the count.
Pryor did a really good job breaking it out in 6-6. It's definitely one of those levels where it's just an automatic cloud if I happen to encounter it along the way. But it looks like he was able to get through there with little to no issue.
Narfman, excuse me. Narfman is now in the pipe maze that is the World 7 map, and bounce around back and forth a little bit to see where the escape path to the airship is. And he's been considering taking that fortress, but he's avoiding it for now until he can figure out more about. I would imagine he's probably figuring out more what it actually needs to do in order to get out of there. And he finds a level and a fortress. And the level is 3-7 here with the old Boss Bass, the second Boss Bass level from World 3. No Boss Bass to be seen yet, but still the big tide effect going up and down, and can make you lose track of where Mario is if you're not if you're not careful. But he gets out of it very quickly. It is a very short. Sorry, 3-8. Yes, yep, 3-8. But it is a very short level comparatively, so he makes quick work of it. And he does have a hammer. He elects not to use it at this stage. So looks like he's considering whether or not to whether he can make it to a fortress or whether he wants to play it. He does have another overworld stage between him and the nearest fortress. Likes to use a P-Wing, and it looks like it is the World 7, oh yes, the World 7 overworld stage. That would be a good one for the Cloud if he has it. So he's making a second run here at 7-8, and after not making it through with the frog suit, oh no, he's going to take go to the Piranha stage instead. Using the expert pause strats to Almost. He's using the pause strats because the nipper plants are on a global timer, so you can pause the game, and they will literally, if you're about to land on them, they will still retreat back into the pipe. And here he demonstrates them again. The pause strat. prieR57 attempting to grab the wand in midair. Doesn't quite make it, so he gets it halfway through the screen. It saves a little bit of frames. Some of our speedrunners here, some of our master speedrunners, will debate whether or not it's a preferable tactic to try to snag it up top, or whether you should just wait for it at the bottom. If you can get it off screen, I believe it does save some frames, but in this situation, where differences are in the more in the matter of many seconds instead of many frames, so may or may not be of that handy of a strat. However, both of them, oh no, looks like narfman and prieR were both about to enter the fortress over here. Oh, they are entering the fortress, the World 8 fortress, over here all the way to the west side of World 7. So we are looking at a very close race again between these two runners. And prieR earlier used a slightly non-typical technique to get his way through the World 8 fortress, where he uses Raccoon Tail to break some of these bricks, and then made a couple of different door choices. Instead, he does not keep his Raccoon Tail, but he's going to still get to Boom Boom as a small Mario, and that's actually going to get him to Boom Boom a little bit faster. You can see it side by side right there, the difference in the speed in getting to Boom Boom. Although with narfman having the firepower, you can definitely see the difference and the advantage that gave him in defeating Boom Boom. Even though prieR was several seconds faster getting to Boom Boom, narfman was several seconds quicker getting out of the stage.
Yeah, that's definitely a really good point as well. Yeah, it took a couple seconds longer for narfman just to wait for the conveyor belt to continue moving. So we'll see if that's a worthwhile time investment. If he can make good use of his fire flower in the upcoming levels. So in the meantime, he's going to be doing a little bit of pipe checking. So he's going to have to build a bridge in order to get to the airship. So he already found out where the next fortress is. So he's going to have to do a little bit of maneuvering through 7-8. Much easier said than done, especially with the way some of those fire piranhas are set up. So thankfully, he gets another fire flower along the way. So we'll see if he decides to take the pipe to where the big question mark block is, or if he's just going to tough it out in the upper sections. So it looks like it's going to be precisely that. So thankfully, unlike Vanilla, he's likely not going to have to contend with any of the fire nippers. So he gets through there no problem.
All he had to do was dodge a couple of large Koopa paratroopers, and he just goes right on by them.
As I was saying before, yeah, those piranhas are especially tough to contend with. So can't really blame prieR at all for wanting to use a P-wing just as a bit of a safety measure. Man is making his way through Fort Knox right now, so that's one of the things I curse about this level is that it always seems to show up when you have a power-up you just don't want to get rid of. And especially considering how valuable fire flowers can be in Randomizer, it's also you also have the unfortunate time sink of having to do a bit of a roundabout detour just to get the Tanuki suit.
And I was about to say that prieR57's decision to use the P-wing was going to be especially fortuitous going into the Fort Knox level. However, with the taking the hit, or the 2 hits as he's leaving 7-8, won't be able to take that advantage into it.
There's having to go through a similar route just to detour with the Tanuki suit, but he also has to get a power up from that lava room before he breaks the blocks to get to the P switch. Meanwhile, narfman's not too far away from the airship, so Looks like he's opting not to use his clouds right now. He's just going to tough it out in level 1-5. And then he'll have a music box at his disposal should he decide to skip over the piranha. And it looks like he got sticky healed. He got some bad pixels as he was trying to jump over that piranha.
Almost didn't make it past the second one either. The one coming down from the top. Very close there on the I. But he gets out of it. No worse for the wear.
I suspected he uses his music box. If you have, yeah, considering that with prieR you tend to slow down if you just have continuous flight after a couple of seconds. So narfman is trying to optimize his speed as much as he can by running along as many surfaces as he can. Looks like he tried to go for the off-screen wand grab, which would have otherwise saved a potential 4 seconds. But unfortunately, he flew a little bit too high, so the wand just went right through him. Anyway, not a significant time loss. It's not really an issue, especially in randomizer.
And we will have prieR57 now looking at the last 2 levels again, 1-5, and then the piranha nipper level to decide whether he wants to play that one as well. So he'll be just probably about a minute and change or so behind narfman as they go into World 5, masquerading as World 6.
So narfman's opting to do a nice little damage boost to get rid of that tail, so he has some convenient P-speed struts to get past the potaboos. Gets chipped by that hot foot along the way, but he still makes the boom boom no problem.
prieR coming through the second of the piranha stages, takes a nice bounce on the music block and gets rewarded with a star. We will get an opportunity to see if this is the pipe that goes up instead of down.
So it looks like his risk was rewarded. So he was able to cloud to the correct pipe, and he is pretty much right at the castle. P-winging through 7F2, so he's going to want to take it a little bit carefully to make sure he doesn't take a death. Definitely a pretty wide margin for error.
With the deciding to pick up the Fire Flower, probably a much better choice than the P-Wing, especially since you do have the Tunnel of Love right there. But gets just that 1 pixel hit from that piranha coming in from.
He has a nice insurance policy going into that second room, so he has the option of doing some damage boosting to get to Boom Boom a little bit quicker than just waiting for the waffles to pass by and any other obstacles that are in his way, like those hot feet and boos.
Seems in the randomizer races, there's always something that's going to make you just want to damage boost through them instead of trying to wait for the time.
The only time I would ever really take it a little carefully in that second room is if I have a power up that I want to hold on to, like a Fire Flower or a Hammer Suit. Otherwise, pretty much everything else is expendable.
prieR gets juked by Potaboo in the 5F2 fort. He tries to go for a jump, and one comes down from the ceiling that kind of does a nice little outplaying the goalie and ends up outplaying him. Oh, and another hit right after he grabbed a Starman also.
Ooh, doesn't look like he was able to get P-speed right away, so he just got a little caught by that dry bones. If you're going to take a death anywhere in any level, you always want it to be right at the beginning to minimize your time loss.
Certainly, absolutely a lot better to take a hit much earlier and only lose a few seconds, as opposed to get almost right up to the point where you're about to kill Bim Bim, or you grab that stage card at the end and maybe get picked off by a Lakitu that was really trolly at the time.
So it looks like narfman has made his way over to Valley of Bowser, so looks like he's going to have to play that tank anyway because it's directly in his path, but it's... he's still going to have to... he's still going to have to open up a bridge right before Bowser's Castle, so it's not going to be the one that he wants. But he might as well knock it out now while he still has to.
Right, this tank was the tank, for viewers that may not be fully aware of the way the randomizer works. There's 2 tanks in World 8. One of them concludes with just a single Hammer Brother, and this is the one that took the place of... This level took the place of that world. Since it takes the place of a Hammer Brother and not a Bim Bim, then what you have here is a regular level that finishes with a regular roulette card.
narfman's going to do a little bit of pipe surfing, so we'll see what the next level is he's going to encounter. And hopefully that'll be the one to bring him all the way to the end. Pulled in by a hand trap along the way, so is he going to decide to hold on to his Fire Flower? Going to do so.
Hand trap is 2-2. prieR57 took a moment to try to get a couple of matches from the end card game. Was able to get one, but got stuck after that. And now is in the Piranha Fort. And narfman does a couple of nice jumps, very well technically executed, going through 2-2.
He had a nice little little stomp boost from the Koopas that were right above the water, so he's able to get past that set of blocks that would otherwise be in his way.
prieR57 decides to cloud over the Piranha Fort, and he ends up going into one of the with a P-wing, or no, it wasn't a P-wing, just the Raccoon Mario tail. Enters one of the hand stages. Doesn't cause him any trouble. He gets the music box, which won't be able to use any further in this game, but at least he's out of having to do the Piranha Fort, and he's into the airship now. So with him now about to enter World 8, this actually puts the race, could be very close, especially since Valley Bowser, the moat is not cleared yet.
I would say that prieR is still barely within striking distance. If he can find the solution, it's just ASAP.
Absolutely. It would be a bit of a luck, but it's happened before. So let's see. Don't go away.
Great use of that hammer, so you'll actually be able to play the tank level that would actually unlock something. So it looks like it's going to be the Air Force this time. So Fire Flower is a good power up to have, so you just knock out those rocky wrenches.
He's definitely shown how to do it there. He's absolutely owning them like a boss, knocking them out one at a time, taking no prisoners.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, maybe.
prieR realizes where Bowser's Castle is, so he's going to play 8-1 as he will inevitably have to. So we'll see if this unlocks Bowser's Castle this time, or if he's going to have to get to the Air Force icon.
narfman gets picked up by another hand stage, and this is the one of the beta stages, the vertical climbing stage, with the waterfalls. It's kind of a fun stage to play, and I've heard some people say that they think it's the easiest of the stages.
There's no enemies that would cause you any harm, and once you get out of it to get to the level card, you'll notice that the pipe layout is pretty much identical to 7.6, so that's probably what the beta was for.
prieR57 goes into the Navy and finds the Navy. So we got a little bit of a Fred there.
Narfman took out those rocky wrenches in just a nice, precise way so that he had a nice flat surface to run on to start building that P speed. So really nice job.
Speed carries it all the way into the fight. Very well executed.
It looks like Narfman was just almost able to carry that P speed all the way through, but he got pretty much to the top of the hill before he had to go rebuilding again. So by that point, you would only lose about half a second over what would be optimal for A2. So hardly anything to stop that.
Is still on his way up the hill. Uses those fireballs one after another to take out the piranhas that are coming out of those pipes, and then ends up going into the carpet fort. Takes just one hit, and now he's in the elevator room with a couple of drunk hot feet. So he's got to be careful here, but he gets oh, there he goes. He gets his jump. He gets out of the room. prieR57 is back in world 8-1. Had a little bit of a trolley timing with the bullet bills coming in as he's trying to make that jump over the red Koopa paratroopa, but doesn't let it bother him. Just handles it like he knows what's going on. Sure he does, and he gets his card, gets out of the stage, and he still has to go back, though, to build that bridge. It's has another fort to build, and we're looking at Narfman now. Narfman is back, making his way back towards Bowser's Castle, though, and this time the bridge is built. So he will be entering Bowser's Castle with a hammer suit. And he's going to try the clip that one time, doesn't make it, so now he's just going to go and take the little drop down, go through the elevator passage with the disco waffles, makes no trouble of it, gets the Nintendo Power Clip into the Potoboo room, and gets a nice jump off the donut lifts, tries the clip again, but decides he's going to go just take through the regular door, dodges some of the fireballs from Bowser, tries to spawn them, wasn't able to get it, and now he's, oh, very nicely done, avoiding the laser beam from the last statue. Hi, Bowser. Bye, Bowser.
Very nicely done.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your GGs out for Narfman. Taking the races 2-0 against prieR57. We'll be finding out our official time here momentarily. So GG's to narfman0.
Well, we will be reaching out to him shortly to see if he's to see if either of our racers are interested in interviews. So prieR's not that far behind. He'll be in Bowser's Castle right now. So he'll be finishing up very shortly as well. And we are joined by our winner, narfman0. GG.
Hey, Teeks. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Congratulations, Narfman. Wonderfully executed all the way throughout.
Hey, Diesel. Well, thank you. It didn't feel like it, but thank you. That World 6 and 8 were kind of trolling me. The 6 was like playing mind games on me. But
Well, 6 does love to do that, and I think World 8 is built for trolling, so very good job.
Thanks. Sorry. Caught up in excitement seeing if prieR maintains his hammer suit.
Looks like you both maintain the hammer suit pretty well.
Oh, nice. Okay, awesome.
Ooh, looks like he
goes. Oh.
It looked like he tried to. He was pretty confident that he got the quick kill on Bowser, but then he still had a couple HP left, so he just kind of jumped right into him there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Still ended up. It felt very close.
It was pretty close this race. Like initially, you guys were pretty much neck and neck for the first half of the game, but unfortunately, it looked like prieR57 had some issues with 6-5 because. Yeah, he got a pretty trolly fire nipper that kept knocking out his tail, so he had to keep re-entering to get that power up. So that would put you at a pretty substantial lead going into the last few worlds. Being a little bit closer, well, I should say significantly closer this race this time, since you guys are only like 1 or 2 levels away from each other. And World 8, it turns out, ended up being a pretty substantial equalizer. So speaking of which, looks like prieR just finishes up with a 48-43. Get your GGs out for him as well. We'll see if he'll be joining us shortly as well. Well, while we'll be waiting for prieR57 to be joining us, it's worth mentioning that we'll have a couple more. We'll have a lot more tournament matches coming up over the course of this week. Just two in the tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. We'll have Magu is Adorable versus Jay Coper on SpeedGaming 2, and at 9 p.m. tomorrow we'll have Raikou Rider versus DLP316. Friday, February 14th, we'll have 2 matches as well, one at 5 p.m. between Makober52 and Jabum, and that'll close out the matches for Group A. And at 10 p.m. on Friday, we'll have Europsilis versus Jay Coper.
And it also looks like we may have a quad match on Saturday at 3 p.m., being noon Pacific. There'll be a quad match featuring Dark Shadows 59 versus Jedab and Gamer Cal versus One Fine Day. And I do believe that I heard prieR joining us. Is that correct? Hello, prieR57. Welcome aboard.
Oh yeah, that's how you welcome new guys, right?
That seed was extra rough. Hey, GG prieR. Bravo.
Thanks.
That was a really impressive race between both of you. I was actually just mentioning right before you both started, prieR, you actually have a pretty significant background in the Legend of Zelda randomizers, if I'm not mistaken. I was going through a bit of your SRL records right before this started. So considering how, the differences between the games you focus on, I think you did a pretty substantial job. So once again, GGs.
Yeah, thanks. It's very different from other randomizers I usually play. I play Zelda Randomizer, and that's very different. It's very based on a good execution, and obviously that's not my best skill, but I tried my best to do it well. I died a lot of times, but I tried to compete with narfman, which is a good player, and I hope it wasn't that awful to watch.
Absolutely,
no, it wasn't at all.
Not prieR. It was wonderful. Go ahead.
You guys both put on a pretty fantastic show, and it's worth also mentioning that narfman also has a pretty significant background and experience with SMB3. He also runs the game vanilla, and a lot of those skills also carry over in SMB3. In Randomizer. And as far as just taking deaths in Randomizer, it's going to happen. That's just one of those things that you have to expect. And I think that considering, just the games that you focus on are pretty different from one another. I know Diesel Pilot was actually just saying, like right before the match started, that some of the skills that are involved with The Legend of Zelda Randomizer do carry over to SMB3 because, there's a lot of there's a lot of exploration that you have to do on the gridlock map in order to get to the right destination, and just kind of planning and strategizing how you get from point A to point B. But even despite that, you guys stay pretty close at many points, and especially in the first half of both randomizer seeds. But yeah, it looks like, especially in that first race, 6-5 was what gave you the most trouble. You had that pretty trolly fire nipper in the upper section that kept continuously taking out your tail, but you still braved through it pretty well, and you got through World 8 and pretty much everything else quite well. So I think that without that level, the gap between you guys would have been a lot tighter.
Yeah, I don't know how much time I lost on that level, but yeah, I lost my tail many times, and I finally got it. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of myself.
We were congratulating you for sticking with it. That showed some great dedication.
Yeah, honestly, I ended up entering the tournament without any expectations. I know I surely lost all my matches, but that's a good game. I love that game, and I wanted to give it a try, and that's I know there's big gap between me and good players, but I'm practicing to make that gap much closer to what it is actually. So I hope I can win at least one match.
Yeah, well, it's fun, and I don't mean to presume upon the viewers, but I imagine watching who can out-jank who can be fun as well. I know I had a few levels that were like, I was so stubborn and just doing silly stuff, or, just getting unhinged, so it's fun. Thanks for...
There's no shortage of jank in SMB3 Randomizer, especially, when just weird levels like 7-9, where you just have an angry sun and a boss bash is looming right over you from every direction when you're trying to clip through certain walls in the maze path, or deciding if you should go a more pedestrian route or just take a gamble on a weird shortcut. Yeah, I know Jabum had a pretty similar experience in the race just a couple hours ago. But at any
7-9 with the throw block, you not being able to pick up the throw block, or...
Oh yeah, that's also a thing as well. Like, but as far as Jabum's race goes, I know that if you don't have a tail immediately, just to cross over that big chasm in 7-2, another backup strat would just be to clip your way to the exit. But if you get bad subpixels and you're making several attempts, that sort of decision making can either pay off for you, or it could punish you pretty harshly. Deciding if you want to just take it, the more traditional route, or just keep going at it until it works. Yeah, looks like you guys both have quite a number of matches ahead of you. I know, narfman, you faced Ibuba just last weekend. You still have Ace of Arrows to match against before you close out your matches in Group K. prieR, you still have Ace of Arrows and Ibuba 7 ahead of you. So I wish you both the best of luck over the course of this tournament, and I'll be looking forward to seeing how the rest of your matches go. prieR, I'm really glad to see that you were able to make your debut in the SMB3 Randomizer Tournament scene, and I hope you continue to join us in the community. And the same goes for everyone else as well who's viewing. Everybody's welcome to join our Discord. All of our resources are available, and we have a very friendly community for anyone who has any questions.
We're very wholesome.
I've had nothing but fun since I've joined.
Thanks, commentators, and thanks, viewers, and thanks especially to prieR for playing.
Thanks for the commentary, and GG narfman, and good luck for your upcoming races. And thanks SpeedGaming who host us for that tournament. And GG.
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure to us, and thanks again to Diesel Pilot for commentating with me. Shout out to SpeedGaming and to prieR57 for organizing the SMB3 Randomizer Tournament. It's been a huge pleasure to be a part of the experience with everybody. Speaking of SpeedGaming, it looks like looking at the schedule, there's not really going to be any more races anytime soon, but we do have Untitled Goose Game going down on the main SpeedGaming channel at 3 a.m. Eastern. So for all the early birds who still want to see some SpeedGaming action, there's still other stuff coming down the pipeline, and much more of tournament stuff over the course of this week. So do stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it. Diesel, anything else you want to add?
I just wanted to say thanks to all the teams at speedgaming.org and speedrunlive.com who make our events possible. And to thank once again the organizer, prieR57, and our volunteer crew of stage managers, tech support, and administrators who help make us at least sound possible, even if we don't sound great. Thank you to the community and everyone else. It's been a wonderful time. Looking forward to casting more games with you and anybody else that wants to be part of it.
Yeah, for sure. So that'll do it. That'll do it for us tonight. Do give both of our races a follow, and I'll be looking forward to joining you guys shortly again in the near future. So GG's and have a good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.